At first, I wasn't going to talk about it because I was afraid that people were going to think like my mom was an addict, like she was a drug user. And they were saying that in the beginning. And then I finally was just like, you know what? I know my mom at the end of the day. I knew who she was. Like, nobody's perfect. I can't say why my mom was taking a pill that day. I don't know why. I wasn't there, but I don't want any other family to experience what my family is going through, especially any other Black family, because we're just always the last to know. Like, we don't have access to the same resources, and it's just not fair. So I truly believe, like, I know for a fact my organization have saved thousands of lives because we've trained hundreds of people. We've given access to Narcan and how to respond to overdose education to hundreds of people in Oregon. So I just know that I'm doing a good thing with the Red Rose Foundation, and I wish this would have been around at the time prior to my mom's death.
I'm Candice, your host of Kids of Overdose. On my hunt to find people that have lost a parent to overdose to interview, I came across a news clip out of Portland, Oregon, where they were interviewing a young woman, MJ Jackson, who lost her mom to an unexpected fentanyl overdose. She was introducing the Royal Rose Foundation, an organization she founded to help bring overdose awareness to her community. Their office distributes free Narcan and gives training sessions on overdose signs to look out for. Among their many other community efforts, her priority is to support Black and Brown and BIPOC people. You can find more information on royalrosefoundation.org. While MJ has spoken at many events, today's conversation goes on a personal level. Today, MJ shares how she, as a daughter, lost her mom to fentanyl overdose. Thanks to all of you for listening to Kids of Overdose.
It's still very hard. It's hard to explain because I'm still actually working through the grief. I've been in therapy all my life, but I got more involved once my mom died. But it's still very hard for me to open up to accepting her being gone. I'm in that stage where it's still hard for me to accept that she's gone. Like sometimes I tell myself, or oh, she's just gone for today. And then I get home and I just work through those emotions. So it's still, every day still feels like the day I lost my mom. And especially like looking at my younger siblings and then looking at my son. And then as I'm growing to be more successful, it's just, dang, my mom's really not here. So she wasn't here to watch me, her first child, get my degree. And I'm going to law school and she won't be able to watch me do. Well, she's watching, but she's not physically here. My organization really helps me stay grounded. Like I'm so deeply involved with my organization. So it helps me grieve.
When did your mom pass?
June 26th of 2022.
So, to start, I thought it would be nice to just ask you what your mom was like.
I was trying not to cry. It's because it feels like I knew her for a while, but then I only got to experience her for a little bit of time. So sometimes I feel like I didn't even get to fully know her. Like, even though I'm the firstborn, I knew her for 22 years, but it doesn't feel like that long. Especially, I feel like with me having a child, like I feel like she didn't even get to meet my child. He was going on two when she passed away. But my mom was the type of person who, I feel like a lot of people say this about their loved ones, but I can genuinely say about my mom, she would give a person her last. She really loved her kids. Like she was a single mom. She worked extremely hard, 80 hours a week to take care of her kids. Like she was a provider. She was a caregiver for her day to day. She was the opposite of me. I could be very selfish. She was so selfless. Her smile could light up any room. Like she really cared about keeping the family together, like family gatherings. Oh, I'm working Monday through Friday, but I have to take my kids out this weekend. Like I have to do this with the kids. I want to get them involved in this. And I feel like I didn't notice the signs that maybe she was depressed because she's always like the kids. But as I've grown to be a mother, no, what about you? What are you pouring into yourself? And I feel like she was so worried about taking care of my younger siblings that she kind of when you become a mother, like, you lose yourself. I didn't see any signs that she was using drugs. And as I've grown, I know for a fact, like, she wasn't using drugs on the day to day because I was with her a lot of the times. But the thing is, you don't know what people are doing behind closed doors in their relationship. And if I could be frank with you, she was with a shitty individual. And a lot of people would say, your mom is so beautiful. Like, why is she with this type of man? And my mom would always be like, it's not about the looks. And she'll make all these excuses for him, but in reality, like, it was domestic violence. It was all these things going on behind closed doors. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes I feel guilty. Sorry. I feel guilty because, like, I feel like I didn't try hard enough to save my mom. Instead, I would just not go around because I didn't like him. I'm like, Mom, if he's there, I'm not going over. And I was staying with him at a point in time, and I would close the door. I would sleep in my brother's room. And I'm just like, Mom, like, he is not good for you. Like, I told her that. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, okay, you know what? If she's happy, there's
Mhm.
nothing I can do. But I told her, like, Mom, he's going to end up, like, really hurting you because he was physically abusive along with verbally, or he's going to end up having you in jail, like, getting you into some type of trouble. And I hate to say that he is the reason why she's dead. And a lot of people in my family feel guilty as well because we all watched her be in this relationship and then look at the outcome. It's her death. Like, we will never know what exactly happened that day because he refuses to tell us, but we were able to put pieces together. And with the little bit that he did tell us, like, he watched her overdose and he freaked out because he was also selling blues at the time. And I also knew he was selling drugs. So I don't know if he had them on him that day, which is why he didn't get her the help that she needed. But he
Mhm.
did tell us, like, she was foaming out the mouth. She was trying to talk. Like, he told us those pieces, but I just wish she would have got her help. And but I also wish my mom would have knew the risk of fentanyl because at the time I didn't know anything about drugs. But if I would have knew this was out there on the streets, I could have told her. But I didn't know either. I didn't know this country was in an overdose crisis. I didn't know that at all until my mom died. And then I started to do research and I'm like, okay, no, this is a real thing. This is happening. But I just don't see anyone of color, I don't see any black people talking about this crisis. And I know it's happening in our community because it happened to my mom. And I know there's no way she's the only one. But
Yeah.
the issue was people weren't speaking about it because the stigma. And I feel like if more black people, especially in Portland, because the black population is so small here, if we were talking about it, my mom would have knew about the dangers and she wouldn't have done something that she knew could take her away from her kids because she's all about her kids. You know what I mean?
Like, feel like a little bit of a detective in a way, right? As you're trying
Oh,
to
I
piece
yeah,
together what happened. I find myself doing that. It was my dad's birthday a
yeah.
couple days ago, and my mom had come over and she started asking questions about the guy that he was with when he
Mhm.
passed. And then we're trying to find his sister,
Yeah,
and I'm on
yeah.
Facebook trying I can't find her. But yeah, it's like always these unanswered questions.
I begged Portland police. Like, I went to the news. You probably seen it on our website. I
Yes,
begged them to do
yes.
something. I said it was him. We have the proof. They literally said we don't have enough resources to investigate. And with me doing this work, I was at a Song for Charlie event. They're another organization doing similar work. And he was at the event and I was on a panel next to him. And I said, wait, you're the detective who told me you couldn't investigate my mom's case? Because I'm very open and upfront. I said what's on my mind. And he turned red. And his
Oh
boss
my
was there.
goodness.
And a lot of people applauded me after, like, I can't believe you confronted him. Yes, I am going to confront him. They want us to be quiet. No, you told me that you couldn't investigate my mom's case. Like, why? He was the last person to see her alive, and he gave suspicious energy. Like, why didn't you guys at least scare him? Maybe he would have said what actually happened.
Yeah, or even where it came from. And maybe it
Yeah,
could have saved other lives. Who knows
yeah.
who else it could have affected, those same
Hmm.
pills, right? That's great that you spoke out. And you
Yeah.
should continue to do that because I think it helps get rid of some of that stigma. In a similar vein, when I first started doing research, all my life I've never met anyone else who's lost a parent to overdose. But
Same.
I
Yeah.
know that I have. We just
Yeah.
don't talk about it, right? So
Hmm.
I started looking at YouTube and news articles and everything, and everybody talking about overdose. I'm just finding parents. I'm not
Yep.
finding any of the kids. So that's what's driving me to do this. Let's hear from
Mhm.
the kids because we can help each other.
We're very
Mhm.
unique. And a lot of people say that when they come in contact with my organization. Wow, we never hear the child's perspective. And I have a partnership with the DEA, and they even tell me, like, I'm the only person, obviously my age, of color, doing this work in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho, like on this whole side of the world. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
In the New York metropolitan area, I see commercials and now you can get Narcan,
Yeah.
but I don't see a big focus on what are the signs.
Yeah.
So everybody can go pick some up and have it for free, but we're not learning how do you use it? What are the signs that you're looking for? Should I bring it out with me, like in my bag when I'm going out? Nobody's like advising us what to do with it or how to use it.
That's what also makes us unique because when people come to Rare Roaster Nation, they come to our events, we give them an experience because honestly, you can probably learn how to use Narcan on YouTube, but it's about connecting with your community members, learning about hearing from the DEA. A lot of people where I come from, they've never met a DEA agent. We had the U.S. Attorney, Natalie Wright, come to one of our organizations to say what they're doing at their level. And then we have Portland Police come and speak out what they're doing locally about the crisis. We did a workshop out in East County, which is predominantly like the Hispanic community. I've been wanting to reach them because they're black and brown. We're in this together. They also see similar overdose rates to the black community.
Okay.
So we got the workshop out there, and the response was like amazing. They invited us to come to a second workshop. Like, it's just amazing to get people to come together, especially like with their teenagers, with their kids, to learn about this together.
What's like the youngest age of somebody that's been to one of these events?
So we try to be like equitable. So when people do bring their young kids, we
Mhm.
have a little station for them to like, check their kids in and hang out because we let you can bring whoever you want. It's like we're
Okay.
an open door, and that's one thing that makes us unique. Like we don't have all these restrictions. Like when people come during our walking hours at the office to get Narcan, there's no strings attached. If you want to do the
Wow.
training, like, we could train you right here. But if you don't want to, that's totally fine. I'd rather you have this life saving medication because even if they don't use it, they might be in a space where someone's like, hey, do you have Narcan? And you could be that person to save lives.
When you're out at a public event or going to like the park,
Yeah.
there's an event going on in the community and just being able to save a life. I'm sure you get asked a lot of questions about the Royal Rose Foundation, all the work that you're doing. But one thing I was really interested in is about you and your experience. And I know that it's hard and it's very personal, these questions, but I think it's these kind of things that we don't get to hear about a lot, especially when it comes to stigma. When your mom passed, you were shocked, right? Like you didn't expect her to go in this type of way. How did you feel about the cause? And were you able to accept it? Was it something that you kept a secret for a little while? Or how was it learning that news?
I was in the middle of getting my hair done, and my aunt calls me, and the man she was with, that your mom's having a heart attack, and we need to go to the hospital. And I'm like, my mom's 40, 41. She's really healthy, like a heart attack. Okay. I immediately race to the hospital, and I get there, and I'm like, where is he? And they're like, he dropped her off, and he left and called us. So sorry, I gotta give you a little bit more backstory. Is that okay?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
so I was at my partner's house initially because I was staying between his house and my mom's house. So I didn't want to be at my mom's house because the guy was there. Last oh my god, conversation I had with my mom, she was like, "Are you coming to Oaks Park for Corday's birthday?" And I'm like, "Mom, is he gonna be there?" And she's, "Yeah, he's gonna be here because so and so." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm not coming, but could you just bring my computer to this side of town since you're coming over here?" Last time I heard her voice. And then, yeah, I go to my hair appointment. I get the call that my mom's having a quote unquote heart attack. And I'm like, stop what I'm doing. I head there. They tell me he dumped her there. He left her there. He didn't even get a chance to get her all the way out. From my understanding, is what I heard is that because they had to immediately start working on her in the car because she wasn't breathing and her brain was swell. And once I get to the hospital, I go back there and like she's hooked up. I've never seen anything like this. Like I've never seen like a dead person before. I get to the hospital and she's hooked up like to all these machines. Like I see this stuff in movies, but I've never seen it before in real life. So I'm asking a lot of questions. What's going on? What is this machine like? What have you guys done so far? Because I've always been the advocate in my family. Like a lot of people in my family are behind, and I'm more so ahead. So I'm like, I'm always that young voice, like, and I'm not afraid to ask questions. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, we tested her urine. Again, I didn't know fentanyl was out, was, I didn't know this country was in a crisis, but I assumed the hospital would have known. It was 2022. And I'm like, okay, did you test? I did ask, did you test for drugs? Because I've heard of people doing cocaine, stuff like that. They were like, there's a little alcohol in our system, but that's all we found. And I'm like, okay, like, because we're not knowing at this time until hours are going by. She's still hooked up on the machine, and they say they want to try to cool her down. I don't know medical terms, so I guess her brain was extremely swollen, and they were trying to get her to cool down. And then it was just, I don't know how this experience was supposed to go. I'll be quite frank, but I feel like they already knew she was dead, but they didn't want to tell us, or they didn't know how to tell us because we were all frantically, what's happening? This was new for my entire family. We've never lost a loved one before, so close to us at least. We didn't never experience this. We're putting us in these different rooms. They got a surgery guy like on this camera trying to explain. I don't even remember what he was saying, but they said, okay, we're gonna unplug the machine to see if she'll cool or something like that. And they end up asking us to leave out. And next thing we know, like they come out and they say, oh, she didn't make it. I'm like, what do you mean she didn't make it? And I guess her heart failed 3 times. And I know this might sound like weird, but I believe my mom was trying to hang on because 3 times, that's actually my favorite number too. So I'm like, I feel like I didn't do enough to save her. I still, maybe that's what's giving me a hard time to work through my grief because I just feel
Yeah.
so guilty. And I feel extremely bad for my siblings because, yeah, I lost my mom, but I was an adult. My brothers at the time were like 6 and 10. And
Aw.
every day I have to look at them and our mom's not here. And I just feel like it's not fair. So I try to keep a strong face in front of them. But to go
Yeah.
back to your question, at first I wasn't going to talk about it. So the hospital didn't know. They didn't test her for fentanyl. It was me making the calls to the medical examiner once a week. Is there any update? Is there any update? Because they have to, I guess, send her blood, the toxicology report over. It
Yeah.
took 6 months to find it was fentanyl poisoning. It took 6 months, and they put accidental overdose, fentanyl poisoning mixed with alcohol. And I'm like, I didn't know. So that's when I started doing my research. And at first I wasn't going to talk about it because I was afraid that people were going to think like my mom was an addict, like she was a drug user. And they were saying that in the beginning. And then I finally was just like, you know what? I know my mom at the end of the day. I knew who she was. Like nobody's perfect. I can't say why my mom was taking a pill that day. I don't know why. I wasn't there, but I don't want any other family to experience what my family is going through, especially any other Black family, because we're just always the last to know. Like, we don't have access to the same resources, and it's just not fair. So, I truly believe, like, I know for a fact my organization have saved thousands of lives because we've trained hundreds of people. We've given access to Narcan and how to respond to overdose, education to hundreds of people in Oregon. So I just know that I'm doing a good thing with the Red Rose Foundation. And I wish this would have been around at the time prior to my mom's death. I wish there was more people like me doing this work because maybe we would have got the education that we needed to prevent her death. But I do believe awkwardly, like everything happens for a reason. I'm just taking it day by day. You really brought my tears out. I really don't
Oh,
cry. I try to honestly push my mom's death like to the back of my head so I can get through the day because I make sure to stay busy. But yeah, sorry.
thank you for being so comfortable to share that with me. I think maybe because so many families are keeping these things as secrets, that's why the stigma is there. Because we're feeding into
Mhm.
it ourselves by making it a secret thing and not talking
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah, I've met a lot of people at my workshop who say they put me aside. Oh, I know this person has that. I know this family who's been impacted. Like, how can they get help? But it's just
Mhm.
it's sad that people feel like they have to keep it a secret. It's
But
just
like you
sad.
said, you didn't want people to judge your mom. I never
Yeah.
want people to judge my dad. And
Yeah.
even if sometimes we make mistakes, everybody makes mistakes. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you deserve something like this to happen to you, no matter what. So when you first started telling people about what happened to your mom, What made you
scary.
decide to do that and to not keep this a secret?
I feel like because I knew I had to do something like to honor my mom. Like I just knew, along with saving lives, obviously, but it's just I'm very spiritual, so I feel like I got a sign like from her. Like when my mom died, and then we finally finished like the burial and stuff like that, I would go see her every day and talk to her. So I just feel like I got a sign like from her, and I
Yeah.
just went with it. Like, and it took me a long time to figure out like what am I going to do to honor her? Should I open a coffee shop? But I'm like, no, that's more so about me because I love coffee. Like, oh my god, and I was just looking at the videos the other day of like how I started with the logo and then the branding, the name, and I was just like, it just all came together. But it was hard. But a lot of people show us love now that they see it's true. One pill can kill. It's extremely true. This is happening to over 150 people every day. They say the numbers, according to the New York Post, just recently an article came out about overdose. The numbers are shrinking, but
Yeah.
not in Black and brown communities.
Oh,
We're
really?
still at an all-time high. Yeah, the U.S.
Okay.
attorney just sent me that a couple weeks ago, and I think it's so crazy. Like I have a U.S. attorney reached out to me telling me like I'm right. Like
Mhm.
the numbers are shrinking for Black and brown communities.
I know you're still going through the grief.
Yeah, my mom is dead. Like I know that it's just hard for me to accept it. I feel like if I knew more of what happened between those two in the car that day, that would help with some closure, not just for me, but for my family, because we want to know. Because her last phone call was trying to call my uncle, and he's who she would call if she was getting hurt or if she was in trouble. So he lives with that every day. He's like, if I would have answered her call, her last call, and we don't have her phone because this lunatic, the guy, he kept her phone. So I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we don't know. So that is why I'm having a hard time accepting. But I think I am past denial for sure. Anger is still in me. I recently started back on a church. Actually, I got baptized a couple months ago, and I'm working on trying to get some of that anger off of my heart because it does affect other relationships with like my partner, my child, other people. So I try not to be angry. I am past that because of my foundation. Thank God. Like it brings me joy, like bringing smiles and resources to other people. Like my organization really does help keep me grounded. So I would honestly say that it's just a hard thing to accept. And like you said, I don't know if I ever will. I don't know what that looks like for me because I don't even care about me. It's just like my siblings. It's hard because I take care of them. My aunt and I, we co-parent.
Did they know what happened?
We told them, yeah, because they come to our workshops sometimes.
How did you tell them? Like in a way for them to understand since they're so young?
Yeah, and it was extremely hard to tell them because the guy is my youngest brother's dad. It was
Oh,
like extremely hard to explain it to him, but I feel like my middle brother Corday understood. Like we told her she died from fentanyl poisoning, and we basically told him like that was a drug that she took, and because she didn't get help, she died. But they've
okay.
also, I know them, they've looked it up on their own, sadly as well. But they're like talking Snapchat and all that, so they've done their own research as well.
I think going in that route, letting them know what truly happened,
Yeah,
they won't have to go through their whole life wondering because they already know. I lost my dad when I was 5, and your brothers are really young, like you said, 6 and
yeah.
7. They were okay. So I know that one thing that really helped me because they're going to have this big hole in their heart where their mom was is that my family came in to give me all this extra love that they probably
Mhm.
didn't need to before, but now because that hole was there and all that extra love helped fill it. As long as your brothers have you and you said your aunt, right? And
Their
all your
other siblings.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you just have to give them more love and I know it's a lot. But just give them all that you can, and then it'll help fill that hole. Are there any types of situations or things people say that maybe trigger you or get you upset or make you think of what happened with your mom?
I've never attended a Narcan training. Like I've learned how to use
Yeah.
Narcan like on my own. I did like a private training, but more recently my job hosted this huge Narcan training, and I went as a community member. And I noticed I can't be in other Narcan trainings. Like, I just can't. It's way too triggering for me. I
Okay.
know that might sound weird because this is what I do on my day to day. Like, I host Narcan trainings, but I can't attend other ones. It's just too hard to know that if my mom would have got Narcan, she would possibly still be here. Like, that just, it just hurts me. It's also might sound weird, but like just being around my siblings, like I really hurt for them. Like it's not even just me, and it sounds so selfish, but I hurt so bad for them because it's not fair. Because they have, for one, my youngest brother, like his dad was a cause, and then my other brother, his dad's like nowhere to be found. Like he gave us custody because that's how my mama wanted, and he's like a phone call away. But it's like my brother needs more than that. He lost a parent.
Yeah.
You're still here. He needs a relationship with his father, but they don't have that. So I try to tell myself like I don't have space to be sad. I need to feel and take care of my brothers.
Where do you think these stigmas come from?
Honestly, I feel like it dates back to long before I was born. Like before I was born, just Black history as a whole, it was before my time. And it has to do a lot with Black history, politics, racism, and so forth.
Okay. And maybe not wanting to associated with it.
Locally, yeah, a lot of Black people, they don't want people to know like their business. Like they don't want to be associated. They don't want to be known. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But and that's one thing I hope I can change about my community. You guys, we have to speak up. We have to be the voice. And I just hope that I'm able to do that. I feel like I am doing that, but
Yeah, you
there's
are.
still a couple cases that I know about and I know how they lost their loved one, but they still won't come out about it.
What advice would you give to somebody who was you 2 years ago, finding out about their parent being gone in this way? What advice would you give to them that maybe has helped you get to where you are today?
Oh my God, that's just a question my therapist, because I'm so hard on myself. She's, what would you tell someone else? And it's so easy for me to tell other people what to do. I
Mm.
can't give the same advice to myself, but I would say don't judge. Once I found out my mom died, I would go up to the cemetery and ask her. And I wouldn't say blame her, but like I would come off as judgmental, and don't judge because you honestly, parent, partner, you never know what someone is going through behind closed doors. Just keep an open mind when it comes to losing a loved one to an overdose, because you just never know. Like my mom was working a 9 to 5 taking care of her kids. I never would have assumed that she would ever do drugs. You just never know what people are going through behind closed doors, because depression looks different for everyone. It just looks different. So just keep an open mind and don't blame yourself. If you're spiritual, like a lot of things are out of our control. So
Yeah.
just take some time, I guess I would say, to get educated if you're not well vexed about the overdose crisis, or if you're not like I was at the time. I didn't know about drugs. So do your research, learn, and try to do something with your tragedy. You don't have to start a organization. You can join other organizations, reach out to other people who've lost parents. Because prior to meeting you, I come across a couple people that have lost parents to overdose. So I want to talk about it, but not a lot. And I feel like it would be helpful to join people who've experienced something that you have as well. Because a lot of people lose their kids and they come together, but I don't see a lot of people losing their parents and coming together.
Yeah, agreed. So back to your mom and her legacy, are there any songs or movies or places or signs that remind you of her?
Yeah, so my mom was like turned up to be old. She liked to go out and drink from time to time to get stress off or whatnot. And it's this song by Bia. It's like a crazy song. It's called A Whole Lot of Money. And she loved to dance. Like
Oh.
she loved to dance and have a good time. When I hear certain songs like that, like those songs that like get you up and go get the girls going, I think of my mom, or when I'm in the Starbucks drive-thru. I was just at Starbucks today. Her and my grandma, they used to go to Starbucks every day. And my mom used to always be like, she wasn't a coffee drinker, so she'll be like, "Oh, what should I try?" Always asking me like what to try.
Mm.
That's why initially I thought of like a coffee shop to honor her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just things like that. But more so, I would honestly say it all comes down to my siblings. Like, they just make me think of her. Like, because I feel like we were all robbed of our mom. They're just so young.
Losing a parent suddenly can leave you with many unanswered questions that you may never get the answers to. Are there any unanswered questions that you wonder about?
I kind of question, like I said, at the hospital, like them knowing that she was dead, if there was something God could have done there. Because again, I've never lost a loved one. I've never seen someone like hooked up to those machines. So, like, I talked to her there. Sorry. Like, I was asking her to wake up. I was sorry. Because I didn't know she was dead. But I feel like they knew. And I still have that vision in my head of her. There's a lot of things that I didn't understand. I wish I would have asked the hospital. And then also, I got her dress for her funeral. So it's just, I don't like a lot of things that I was very protective of my mom when she was alive, but after she died, because again, my family, we've never experienced something like this. So when she was in the funeral home, like they made all these cuts on her, and like they did a lot of things to her that I wish I would have asked more questions. But my family or people would say that's normal. I would call the funeral home like she was alive to check on her
Oh,
because I just wanted to still protect her.
yeah.
I wish I would have asked more questions to the hospital. I wish I would have stayed on police about arresting him. I feel guilty about that, that I had stopped like once they told me no. And I wish I would have kept fighting for her. I don't want to say that I'm not, because I am with my organization. I'm honoring her. But I wish I would have kept fighting to get him arrested. But yeah.
Sometimes things happen on their own in time, too.
Yeah.
And especially you as a spiritual person, I think sometimes we just have to keep believing in that.
Yeah.
If you could talk to your mom one last time, what would you say to her or ask her?
I would probably say, because, like I said, I was overprotective of her, and I was very judgmental. First, I will apologize. I was so hard on her, like, but I just wanted the best for her. I wish I would have been more comfortable with starting conversations with her, just about her mental health and about how she feels and about why she works so much and what was she doing for herself. You're working 80 hours a week. What are you doing for yourself? And they're always making it about her being with a shitty person, but instead reversing that and just asking her, like, what is she doing to pour into herself and maybe like spending more time with her. And 'cause I feel like we don't know what self care is. Like, I just recently learned about self care, and I feel like a lot of Black mothers, we don't prioritize that. So I don't know, just introducing that to her because she got her nails done, her toes done, but I still feel like I might have missed some signs that I wish I wouldn't have. But I wish I could tell her that I love her and that I'm always here for her and just stuff like that.
Nice. Is there anything else that you want to talk about today or mention?
I think that's it. I got more emotional than I thought because I don't really have these type of conversations with
Yeah.
people. Like, I never get this deep. So sometimes it comes out scattered because I want to always tell like the full story. I feel like in certain spaces I have to make it known that my mom wasn't an actual drug user when in reality it shouldn't even be like that. Like, she still matters. She's still a person.
I hope that the Royal Rose Foundation goes everywhere that you dream it to go in all different directions, whether it be who knows what. Like, just,
Yeah.
I hope it
Yeah.
just continues to grow into something beautiful for your mom. And thank you so much for sharing your story with me.
Of
Um,
course.
yes, and I
Thank
will.
you for creating this platform. Like I'm looking forward to watching you grow as well because this is very unique. I don't know anyone else doing something like this. So I already know it's gonna blossom.
My key takeaway from my conversation with MJ is when you can't find the good in things, you can still do good with things. I don't think MJ will ever find good about losing her mom in this way, but she certainly has done a lot of good with what happened and is saving lives with the Royal Rose Foundation. For more information, they are on Instagram, Facebook, and are always accepting tax-deductible donations. If you know of any great resources or advocates that you think I should mention on the show, contact me at kidsofo.com. And if you or someone you know is interested in sharing their story on the show, contact me too. I'm here and I'm waiting whenever you're ready. We have a great show next week with a woman named Dina from California. She has a very interesting perspective. I hope you'll join me again. And until then, take good care. And thanks for listening to Kids of Overdose. Music is from Clavier on Pixabay. Cover art is from Pixabay. This show is not sponsored by anyone in any way. Goodbye.